Hello, everyone. This is horror author James Hershey Jr. from the Staring into the Abyss radio show. And in this video, I'd like to share with you guys a article that I came across. The title of the article is Jack the Ripper Solved. DNA Evidence Ends the 126-year-old Mystery. It was by Joe Frost. The author of the new book says he has definitely, categorically, and absolutely uncovered the identity of Jack the Ripper. While we've heard this claim made before, this time around some pretty hard scientific evidence backs that claim that Aaron Kosminski, one of the main suspects of the day, was the infamous Ripper. Quote, "I've got the only piece of forensic evidence in the whole history of the case," end quote, London businessman Russell Edwards told the Mirror. "I've spent 14 years working on it, and we have definitively solved the mystery of who Jack the Ripper was." Writing for the Mail on Sunday, Edwards described the process of solving the 126-year-old mystery. In March 2007, Edwards bought a blood-stained shawl, which was found beside Catherine Eddowes, one of the Ripper's canonical 5 victims. Edwards had a hunch the shawl did not belong to Eddowes, as it was too fine a garment for a woman so poor. She had sold her shoes the day before her death, so she was so poor that she sold her shoes the day before she died. Edwards' theory was that the shawl belonged to the Ripper, who had left it at the scene of the crime as a clue as to when he would next strike. Edwards enlisted the assistance of Dr. Jari, and I'm going to butcher this, but Jari Luhalainen, an expert in genetic evidence from historical crime scenes, in 2011. Doctor's first task was to identify the various stains on the shawl. Using UV photography, he discovered that there was more than just blood present on the garment. Under UV photography, a set of fluorescent stains showed up which Jari said had the characteristics of semen. He also found evidence of split body parts during the frenzied attack. One of Eddowes' kidneys was removed by her murderer, and later in his research, Jari managed to identify the presence of what he believed to be a kidney cell. The genomic DNA present was too old to be effective, so he used mitochondrial DNA, which is passed down through the female line. Karen Miller, Eddowes' 3-time great-granddaughter, allowed her DNA to be tested, and authenticity of the shawl was proven. He was far less confident of the semen having any cells present which could be tested, so he enlisted the help of Dr. David Miller, a world expert on the subject. In 2012, they made another incredible breakthrough when they found surviving cells. They were from the epithelium, a type of tissue which coats organs. In this case, it was likely to have come from urethra during ejaculation. Using the surviving cells, he said he was able to map the DNA of the person who had donated them. Because of the genome amplification technique, I was able to ascertain the ethnic and geographical background of the DNA I extracted. It was of a type known as the haplogroup T1A1, common in the people of Russian Jewish ethnicity. I was even able to establish that he had dark hair. Aaron Kosminski was a Jewish immigrant from the Polish town of Kladowa, which was then part of the Russian Empire. While he never had children, his sister's descendant was willing to give a mouth swab for the doctor to compare. The first strand of DNA showed a 99.2% match, as the analysis instrument could not determine the sequence of the missing 0.8% fragment of DNA. On testing the second strand, we achieved a perfect 100% match. Kosminski was a barber in Whitechapel, where the murders took place. Initially, they were known as the Whitechapel murders. So the story could soon be in for the musical treatment, Jack the Ripper, the Demon Barber of Whitechapel. Kosminski had a history of mental illness and was put in an insane asylum in 1891. He spent the rest of his days in institutions before passing away in 1919. The canonical 5 murders, considered to have definitely been the work of the Ripper, took place between August 31st and November 9th, 1888. However, another 6 grisly killings occurred in the Whitechapel area between 1888 and 1891. The fact the spree ended around the same time Kosminski was institutionalized lends weight to the theory he committed all 11 killings. Edwards said he had long suspected Kosminski was the Ripper. Indeed, the police at the time identified him as their prime suspect. I spoke to Alan McCormick, the officer in charge of the Crime Museum, also known as the Black Museum. He told me the police had always believed they knew the identity of the Ripper. Chief Inspector Donald Swanson, the officer in charge of the investigation, had named him in his notes, Aaron Kosminski. Kosminski has always been one of the three most credible suspects. What is certain is he was seriously mentally ill, probably a paranoid schizophrenic who suffered auditory hallucinations and described as a misogynist prone to self-abuse, a euphemism for masturbation. McCormick said police did not have enough evidence to convict Kosminski, despite identification by a witness, but kept him under 24-hour surveillance until he was committed to a mental asylum for the rest of his life. Edwards is completely confident in his findings, saying only non-believers that want to perpetuate the myth will doubt. This is it now. We have unmasked him. Of course, the naysayers have already emerged, with the Metro writing the DNA of a Whitechapel resident on the belongings of a known Whitechapel prostitute merely proves Kosminski met Eddowes at some point. What do you think? Are we about to replace the term smoking gun with semen and blood spattered shawl? Or with Edwards' book naming Jack the Ripper is set to be released this week, is this just a bloke trying to make some money? And that is the end of the article. We have done multiple videos on the Whitechapel murders and Jack the Ripper, and there's all kinds of really interesting theories. This theory, I guess, is as good as any. Kosminski definitely is one of the suspects that a lot of people think might have been Jack the Ripper. The fact that they found semen on that shawl does not necessarily mean he was Jack the Ripper. All that really means, like the one guy said, is that he met Eddowes. You know, she was a prostitute, so he could have got that semen on the shawl in normal prostitute John means, and he might not have killed anybody. But then again, he very well might have. As always, it's up to you guys to make up your mind and decide for yourself. There are so many different theories to the Jack the Ripper mystery, and that's why I think that we love it so much, is because it's a good mystery. Now, do you guys think, and let me know down in the comments below, do you guys think that it was Kosminski? Do you think that this DNA on the shawl proves anything, or just that he went to a prostitute? Or do you think that this guy is just trying to sell a book, and so he's making claims that he has solved the mystery, when in fact there's really is no actual smoking gun? There's no proof that he killed anybody, just that he had met Eddowes. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Don't forget to catch the Staring Into the Abyss radio show on ParaX Sunday nights at midnight. And we just set up a brand new Patreon account. So if you guys like the show Staring Into the Abyss and you want to support the show, or if you like any of my videos that you see on here and you guys want to help donate to keep everything going, just go to patreon.com/James Hershey Jr. And that's the Patreon page, and donate whatever you can. We'd really appreciate it. All right, until I speak to you guys again, love many, trust few, and do harm to none. I love you. Bye-bye.